In this video, I'm going to go through the first page of your Semester 2 Final Exam Review packet, and so that'll be questions 1 through 10. So in the first question here, what you see is a -5 in front of the parentheses, and what you want to do is distribute that -5 to the r and to your 7. So it'll be -5r minus 35, and that's equal to 10. Now to isolate your variable, the letter r, to solve for that, you want to undo what's been done. So maybe it's helpful to write PEMDAS. This is when you're doing order of operations, but when you're solving, you actually go backwards. So we're going to undo the subtract before the multiply. So I'm going to add 35 to both sides, and then I get -5r is equal to 45. And if I divide both sides by -5, my r will be equal to -9. Okay, number 2, we have no distribution like we had here, but I notice we have like terms, so we're going to combine those like terms to make a total of 10x. And now to isolate my variable, the x, I'm going to subtract 5 first, and I get 10x is equal to 50, and then I'll divide by 10. And my solution is 5. Okay, here is number 3. I notice that I have the variable x, but it's on both sides of my equal sign. And what I need to do is have my x only on one side and my number terms on the other side. So when I look at which one I'm going to move, it really doesn't matter which x you move, but I move most of the time the smaller x. That way I'm solving for a positive x versus a negative. So if my x is over here on the right, that means I need to move my numbers to the other side. And 2 minus 23 was -21. And now to solve for my x, I just need to get rid of the 3. So I'll divide both sides by 3, and I get -7. You might want to rewrite it x equals -7, but really these are the same thing. Okay, now number 4, distributing a fraction. And this is how I distribute my fraction. I take the number on the top times the number that you see here in the parentheses, and I actually write that number down here, and then it's easier for me to divide. So if I have 10x, and then the first term is 10x, I'm going to write that down. But if I have 2 times 6, I'm going to get 12x, and 12 divided by 3 is going to get me a subtract 4x, because that's a minus sign there, times a positive. Now again, 2 times my 12, I'm going to get 24. A negative times a positive means this term is going to be a negative. 2 times 12 is 24. 24 divided by 3 is 8, and that's how you distribute your fraction. Now I'm going to combine my like terms kind of like how I did up here in number 2, and I have 6x minus 8 is equal to 64. Now again, solving, I'm going to undo this subtract 8 before I get rid of my coefficient of 6. 64 plus 8 is 72, and you might need to use your calculator. That's okay. 72 divided by 6 is 12. Okay, now number 5. You have here a proportion, which means a fraction equal to a fraction, and how you want to solve those is cross multiply. So I'm going to set up the other one with my colors as well. So you're going to multiply the diagonals together. You're going to set them equal to each other. So the diagonal 2 times 2x plus 3, I want this 2 to get multiplied to everything in the numerator. So think distribute. We'll set that equal to the other diagonal, 5 times x minus 7. So distribute your 2 on the left, distribute your 5 on the right. You'll get 4x plus 6 equal to 5x minus 35. And now what I'm going to do, very much like what I did for number 3, is I'm going to move my x's to one side and my letters to the other side. So I'll show you it really doesn't matter. Here we move the x's to the right, but you could move the larger amount. It really does not matter. You just have to move them one way. Move the letters together on one side of the equal sign. And if you have a -x, that's no problem. I'll show you how to deal with that. Now, I have my letters on the left, which means I need my numbers on the right. So I have -x then equal to -41. And if I divide both sides by -1 to get rid of that, or make all the signs opposite, my solution will be 41. Okay, again, likewise over here, cross multiply, you'll have 7 times x minus 3, set that equal to 4 times 2x plus 1. And now I'll distribute my 7 over here, and I'll distribute my 4 over here. So 4 times 2 is 8, and 4 times 1 is 4. Now, again, I normally like to move the number that's the smaller amount, but I showed you here it doesn't really matter. So maybe you get an x, that's okay. That's negative, that's okay. You can just divide by negative in the end. So I am going to move the smaller amount just because I do like solving for a positive amount of my x. And then I'll subtract 4, and I get negative 25 is equal to x. And that's it. Here you're done. Number 7. Number 7, this is called evaluate, and maybe that's just fancy for substitution. Substitute in, see how there's an x inside here? Replace your x with the number -3. So I'm going to put in parentheses -3, and I'm going to substitute. When you substitute, make sure you use parentheses. It's kind of like hinting that you use parentheses because they even show the parentheses there, and maybe that's gotten by you before, but use parentheses. And trust me, you'll always get the answer right, especially if you type it in the calculator, literally exactly like this. You'll always get the answer right if you use parentheses when you substitute. So parentheses, -3 parentheses square, subtract 5, parentheses, -3 parentheses plus 3. There it is, 27. But I'll show you with my mind. Okay, so -3 times -3 is 9. A negative times a negative means we're going to add, and then plus 3. Maybe you want to add whatever is easiest to you first. Maybe 9 plus the 3, you get 12, and 12 plus 15, and then you get 27. But either way, calculator or not, 27 is your answer. Again, substitution, make sure you use parentheses if you're going to evaluate, and so I'll show you that one more time here. So in for the x squared, we're going to substitute in parentheses. Then -2 will square it. We'll subtract 7 times -2, and then we'll subtract 2. So you have to use parentheses on the calculator. If you don't, you will not get the right answer, and I can't stress that enough. That's one thing I remember vividly from my math teacher in high school. She'd say, if you're substituting, you have to use parentheses. And I was like, oh, that's why I've been getting all these answers wrong, because if you don't put in parentheses, it's not going to read it -2 times -2, and it won't give you +4. And so just be careful there. Here, -2 times -2 is +4. And if you don't have parentheses, it's going to say -4, which is not right. -7 times -2 is +14. And then we'll subtract 2. 4 plus 14 is 18. 18 minus 2 is 16, which is what my calculator got way quicker than I could do. So parentheses, my friends, they will help you out. Okay, number 9. Find the equation of a line in point-slope form and then slope-intercept form given this information. Slope of 7 and point, -2,5. You need to know point-slope form for point-slope, and here's the form. And if you didn't know this formula, don't cry. We'll give it to you for the final exam. Okay, so now I'm going to plug in where you see the m, a 7, where you see the x1, a -2, and where you see the y, a 5. And the rest of it stays as you see it. Okay, so my slope went in for m, my -2 went in for my x coordinate, my point, my 1x that I know, and the 5 goes in for the 1y that I know. Now, to get your slope-intercept form, all you need to do is distribute and solve for y. A negative and a subtract is going to make that a plus. So I'm going to circle this for my point-slope form, just because I'm going to simplify that one piece. And now let's actually do our math. I'm going to distribute first. 7 times x and 7 times 2. And now I'm going to solve for y by adding 5. That's it. Here we are, folks. Here's your answer. 14 plus 5 is 19 for your y-intercept. There you go. Okay, now this one's only slightly harder because they don't tell you the slope. You have to find your slope first. So here I'm going to calculate my slope. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Again, minus a negative means you're going to add. And here, 3 minus 1 is 2. So my slope is 3. So again, that's going to go where you saw that m in your formula. Pick only one point. Don't pick both because it says point slope, not points slope. Notice there's only one. I'm going to pick one that has no negatives just because I kind of like not using negatives. So here we go. Y minus a 3 equals my slope of 3 and x minus 3. But you could have also done, so maybe you did use the other point. Y minus -3 equals my slope of 3 and x minus 1. These will get you the same answer. It doesn't matter which one you pick. So I'm going to say either or. Both of those are correct. Now I'm going to use the top one here to solve for my slope-intercept. You'll get the same thing. And I'll show you both of them, actually. Why not? I got time. Do you have time? I got time. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. Add your 3 over. I get y equals 3x minus 6. There's my equation. Now, if you had used the other one, I'll show you, you'll get the exact same answer because those 2 points should go through the same line. Distribute your 3. 3 times x, 3 times negative 1. Subtract your 3 over. Oh, hey! Nice job. Exactly the same thing. There you go. There's page 1 of your final exam review packet. Stay tuned for the next video for page 2.